Hi, I'm Mark, this is Wild Duo, and I will now explain you Tusk tactics.
So let's have a look at the rules of Tusk tactics. What you see here is the general setup of the Savannah board. There is also an alternative mode, which we have a look at later in this video. So for this, you need all the yellow and orange elephants, but the neutral, the brown ones, they stay in the yellow bag. So once you have set up the board, you can start with the game. So what is the game about? It's about herds of elephant that meet each other here in the savannah, and they split up the herds and they rejoin again. And in the end of this family gathering, you want to be the family of elephants that rules the most of these small groups that have formed. And how do you play the game? The game is played in turns. So it's so if it would be my turn first, then what can I do? I can do exactly one thing. I can move one of my elephants. There are 5 rules when it comes to movement of elephants. So the first one is that you can only move elephant of your color or a stack that has an elephant of your color at the top. So I can never move a yellow elephant or a stack that has a yellow elephant on top. So the second rule is you can only move in a straight line. So this elephant, for example, could move here along the line, or here, or here. So now the third rule comes into play, because when I move a stack of 2 elephants, it now has to still move in one line, right? But it's also required to move the number of elephants that are in these herds. So here we have 2 elephants, so I have to move two spaces. So I could move here, for example, or I could move here. So always the height, or like the group size, is decisive how far you have to move. So for example, I could now do this one. And now that's the 4th rule. When you move, you can jump over other elephants. So this is no problem if I move here. And the last rule, and that's also very important. So let's say we would... and now what is very important is that I can only, that if I move something, then it has to land on another tile or stack. So for example, this one is 3 pieces high, so this herd of elephants. So if I want to move it, here I would no longer be an option. So I cannot move it here because there is an empty space and I cannot land on an empty space. I also can't move it here because here it's too short, because I have to move the full length, right? 3 pieces in this case. I would go over the edge. This is also not possible. This is not possible. This would be not possible. This is not possible. The only possibility, so the only possible move for this one would be this one. I of course don't have to move it, right? I can also leave it like this, but I mean, over the time, maybe I want to move it, and this would be the only legal move. Also important, over the time, and when an elephant, a herd of elephants get maybe too big, for example, in this case, it's 6 high, it can no longer move because the way it would need to move is too far. It will always go over the edge, and that's not possible, so it has to stay here. And the game will be over once all legal actions have been performed. So we have to perform all legal actions, and once we can no longer move our elephants, the game is over. And I even have to perform the actions that are not optimal for me, that maybe even bring an advantage to the other player. So I have to move all the elephants, and once all legal actions are gone, maybe it would look then something like this. So there is a lot going on, so you have these really high groups here, right? So now there is no legal movement anymore. Yeah, here would be one here, but now there is no legal movement anymore, and then the game is over. And now we get to the victory points. So for what do you get victory points? You get victory points for each group of animals that you rule that have 4 or more elephants in it. And each of these herds, these groups with 4 and more elephant, gives you 1 point. So here this would be 1 point for yellow, this would be 1 point for yellow as well. Here we have orange with each with each victory point. These are no victory points because this is only 3 and this is 3 as well. So in this case we would have a tie, and if it's a tie, then the largest herd, the largest group wins, and this would be this one in this case. So orange would be the winner of this game. And now let's have a short look at the second mode of Tusk Tactics that is on the back. This one here. It's there is only one tiny difference, and these are the neutral tiles. So the neutral tiles work like this, that both players can move them. So when you perform an action, you can either perform one with your own tiles or with a neutral one. Otherwise, they work completely the same. So if I would have here a stack with 2, this stack still has to move 2. So that's the only difference. Of course, also the setup is different. And in this particular mode, it's about that you have the biggest herd. So the one in the end that has the tallest tower wins the game. If there is a tie with the tallest tower or the largest herd, then you have a look at the second largest and so on. And yeah, that's Tusk Tactics, both modes. Have a lot of fun with them.